Okay, kiddos, I'm going to read a couple chapters out here in the woods. I don't have a lot of battery left, so I'm just going to do a couple this way, and I'm going to set my phone just right here next to me so that you can see what I see while I read. Chapter 13. Chapter 14. The Sad Truth. That night, while everyone else was sleeping, Roz stayed up with her computer and researched sneaky subjects. She looked for diagrams of her own body and for maps of this area. I think I already read this part, but that's okay, it's short. But the robot found nothing. The computer only let her access information about farming. She was cut off from the outside world. It was clear that if Roz wanted to escape from her new life, she would need help. But the cows didn't know how to escape, and Mr. Sharif would never let his robot leave. Who would possibly help Roz run away from the farm? Yeah, he's watching, right? Chapter 15. The Children. As time rolled by, Roz saw less and less of Mr. Sharif, but she saw more and more of the children. They were shy at first. The robot might look up from the pasture and see Jad peeking around the corner of the barn, or see Jaya spying from the branches of a tree. But the children were growing bolder. And then one day, Roz marched into the workshop and heard giggling. She walked into the closet in the back, opened the door, and there was Jaya, smiling and trying not to laugh. "I'm hiding from my brother," whispered the girl. "Close the door." The robot closed the door. A minute later, Jad ran in, flushed and out of breath. "Hey, Roz, have you seen Jaya?" The robot just stared. "I know she's in here," says Jad, and he began prowling around the room. He searched under the work table and behind the tool chest and between all the bulky workshop machines. Finally, he marched up to Roz and said, "I order you to show me where my sister is hiding." The robot pointed to the closet. Jad smiled mischievously and tiptoed over. And then he flung open the door and screamed, "Found you!" "No fair," Jaya whined. "Roz showed you where I was hiding." The girl scowled at the robot. "That wasn't very nice, Roz. But you can make it up to me by playing hide and seek. Count to 100 and then try to find my brother and me, okay?" There was a brief pause. Then the robot said, "Okay." Jaya and Jad squealed with delight and scampered out the door as Roz started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. The robot's sensitive ears listened carefully to the children outside. She heard quick footsteps crunching the driveway. She heard a giggle and the sounds of tree branches shaking. She heard a grunt and the sounds of hay bales being shoved aside. When the robot finished counting, it took her exactly 5 seconds to find Jaya up in a tree. It took her another 8 seconds to find Jad in the hayloft. "Wow, Roz is really good at seeking," says Jad, as he picked hay from his hair. Jaya snorted. "Yeah, well, let's just see how good she is at hiding." Roz was even better at hiding. While the children counted, the robot silently slipped away, and an hour later, they still hadn't found her. The siblings stood in the driveway, defeated. "We give up, Roz," shouted Jad. "You win," shouted Jaya. The junk pile beside the barn started moving, and Roz appeared. The robot had been sitting there all along, perfectly camouflaged among the scrap metal and old farm machines. The next time we play, you have to let one of us win, said Jaya to Roz. And the next time they played, Roz did. The robot enjoyed having the children around. They brought a little lightness to her world, and she hoped she brought lightness to theirs. Life must have been dark since their mother had passed away. However, Roz had another reason for wanting the children around. She needed them. Her only chance of ever returning home was if Jaya and Jad could find it in their hearts to help her escape. But this was a delicate situation. If Roz tried too hard, the children might say something to their father. If she didn't try hard enough, she might be stuck on that farm forever. Chapter 16, The Robot's Dream. Cows grazed in the pasture. Wind rustled through the tall grass. Clouds drifted over the fields. Farm machines rumbled and buzzed. Milk flowed into bottles. Bottles were packed into boxes. Boxes were loaded into the milk truck. The truck drove away full and returned empty. Children romped around with their dog. A man sat at his desk. A robot dreamed of escape. Chapter 17, The Birds. Still recording. Yes. Hilltop Farm was home to many birds. I can see birds and hear birds all around me. Can you guys? Swallows were always swooping low over the grass and picking off insects. Crows cawed from the fields like a gang of hecklers. At night, owls glided above the countryside, silently searching for furry little meals. The robot was stuck on that farm, but the birds were free to go wherever they pleased. Lucky birds. One day, Roz was standing in the pasture, admiring a hawk as he soared through the sky, when the cows began grazing around her. Their slow footsteps crunched in the grass. Whoosh. Their teeth chewed and chewed. Their tails flicked at flies, and all the while Roz stood there staring up at the hawk. And then came Lily's soft voice. "What were you thinking about, Roz?" The robot turned to the calf. "I am thinking about Bright Bill," she said. It was not long ago that I was watching my son soar through the sky. That seems like another lifetime. "You must hate your new life," said Annabelle. "I can't say that I blame you. Farming looks like such grueling work." "Actually, I like farming," said Roz. "Somehow it feels right to spend long hours working with machines and tools and crops and animals. But I miss my old life on the island." Tess had a mouthful of dandelions, but that didn't stop her from speaking. "Maybe you should start thinking of this farm as your home. That island is awfully far away. There's a good chance you'll never make it back there." "Don't say that," cried Lily. "Roz has to make it home. She just needs to be with Bright Bill and her friends." "Tess is right," said Roz. "I may never make it home. If I were a bird like my son, I could fly home all on my own anytime I wanted. But I am only a robot." Nobody spoke after that. The cows went back to grazing, and Roz went back to admiring the hawk, and her eyes followed the bird as he soared through the sky, free to go wherever he pleased.